Hello. I wanted to do something a little bit different today for my YouTube video. So, I've been doing a lot of just like talking about different topics. And while I think that that can be really helpful and beneficial, I also know that there's a lot of people who may be watching these and they're going, okay, well, this sounds really great in theory, but like, what does this actually look like in action? And I get that because I was in that exact same spot where I was like, okay, working for myself sounds great in theory. Becoming a Pinterest virtual assistant sounds great in theory. But theory is only going to get you so far. So, what does this actually look like in action? And is there actually a path that I can follow in order to hit my income goals? I've talked a lot about how pregnancy and just like this stage of life is having me really like rethink the way that I'm running a business, rethink the way that I'm like approaching business. And I'm so thankful for it because it's making me be super intentional with my time. I feel like beforehand, I was not intentional with my time and I was really doing a whole lot of things that weren't actually moving the needle. And maybe you feel like that as well. Maybe you feel like you're juggling a full time job, you're juggling kids, or you're juggling a pregnancy, or you're juggling a relationship, or just life and friendships. And you're also wanting to be able to leave that full time job. And you're like, I don't know how all this is going to work together because I don't see a path. I don't see what this, like, where I need to go next and what action I need to take. And so I pulled together and kind of developed what I'm calling the Naptime Pinterest VA income formula. This is really designed for those who have limited amount of time to make an income. This is a proven path. This is a clear and a repeatable path. And what's powerful about that is that you can plug and play and you can really start to build the business and the life that you want. Now, while I say this is a nap time Pinterest VA formula, this can be used if you just have small amounts of like windows to be able to work. And so let's go ahead and dive into this together. So, step one is really becoming abundantly clear on how much time you need per client in order to like effectively manage their account, right? Because what I'm going to walk you through is how much money you could be potentially making as a Pinterest virtual assistant through this formula. And so what I'm doing first is I'm going to walk you through how many hours it typically takes to manage a Pinterest client to give you a really good idea of how you can truly do this in like small windows throughout your week. So when we think about just like an organic Pinterest management client, they typically take around 10 hours per month. So 10 hours per month, that's roughly 2.5 hours per week or 30 minutes a day. So if you are working in those like nap time hours, this is very nap time friendly. This is also very like corporate job friendly. Step two is understanding how much you can realistically charge per client. Now, this is going to really depend on like the scope and your experience, and we do walk you through how to price yourself and then how to like scale your pricing inside of the Pinterest VA school. But for the sake of this formula, we are going to say that you can realistically charge $500 to $1,000 per month per client, and let's also pretend that your monthly income goal is $4,000 per month. So how many clients do you actually need in order to hit that 4,000? So let's pretend that you're charging $500 a month per client. You need 8 clients. And we know that the time required to effectively manage their accounts is 10 hours per client. So that gives us 80 hours per month, and that would be 20 hours per week or 4 hours per weekday. That fits in that like 2 to 4 hour a day nap time. Now, this is where I personally want you to like really start to see the growth because yes, your first couple of clients may be in the 500. That's just the reality, right? You're getting some experience under your belt, but that your goal is never to stay there. Your goal is not to stay at 500. Your goal is to get all the way up to where you're bringing on clients that are like $2,000, $3,000 a month. And so I want you to know that, like, just because you're starting somewhere does not mean you have to stay there. So your second scenario could be that you're charging $750 per month. And so in order to hit that 4K, you need about 5 to 6 clients. Required, if you have 6 clients, would be 60 hours per month. That's 15 hours per week, or 3 hours per weekday. 3 hours per weekday is very, very doable and really realistic for most parents. And remember, this is just Monday through Friday. Now, the third scenario, this is where stuff gets really fun. So you're still wanting to make $4,000 a month, and you are going to charge $1,000 per month per client. You only need 4 clients, which then means you're only working 40 hours a month, 10 hours per week, 2 hours per weekday. I feel like that is the absolute sweet spot if you are wanting to work in between like nap times, or you're wanting to do this as a side hustle. And that is the goal, right? Get up to that number. The goal is not to stay at the 500. I hope that this is starting to show you that you don't need to have 20 clients and you don't need to be working full time. I mean, even in that first scenario that I walked through, that was not a full-time job. You simply need 4 to 8 Pinterest clients, each taking about 30 minutes a day to hit $4,000 a month. And I know so many people might be like, okay, cool, but this still feels like a theory. And so I wanted to share these with you because these are real students who've gone through the Pinterest VA school. And one of our students, she landed her very first client at $1,200 a month. $1,200 a month. That was her first client. Another student landed her first client at $3,000 a month. Another student is charging $1,200 for a day with her. All she has to do is 4 of those, and she's almost at $5,000. And I think that that's the thing, is that, like, I just really want you to start to see, because I can talk and I can talk and I can talk, but I just want you to see, like, what's out there. And I want you to see what's possible. And that charging $500 is literally nothing when people are charging $1,200 a month, $3,000 a month for the exact same service. Businesses are looking and will always be looking to have problems taken off of their plate, to outsource work to other people. That's what you're doing when you are a Pinterest virtual assistant. You are taking a problem off of their plate. You are helping them. You are helping to grow their business. You are making it so that they can put their time somewhere else. And that is so, so, so valuable. And so if you enjoyed this and you're even more curious and your interest is piqued a little bit more about what it looks like to enter this space, I've gone ahead and linked the free training for you below, as well as the Pinterest VA School. Because if you've been watching a lot of these videos and you're like, okay, I'm ready to take action, the Pinterest VA School is where you need to be. But I'm hopeful that as I keep doing more of these YouTube videos, you're starting to see what's possible. You're starting to see that it does not need to take up a full time. Like, being a Pinterest virtual assistant doesn't need to take you 40 hours a week. Now, for some people it will, because they're wanting to scale and grow and hit these like 10K, 15K months. Absolutely. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh yeah, you can do that in 30 minutes. But if you're wanting to have $4,000 months, 5, 6, 7, it does not need to take you 40 hours a week. And that can be completely life-changing. That means you could stay home with your kids. That means you could quit your 9 to 6. It just means at the end of the day that you have options. And I truly believe that when women have more options, families are better, the world is better, communities are better. And so don't close yourself off to options that you could have that could literally change your life and your family's life simply because you're like, I don't know if I have the time. This just showed you that there is time and that it can happen. So once again, I've linked those 2 things for you below, and I'm so excited for you to dive in deeper.